Good morning, Unity of South Sound. How is everybody this wonderful, wonderful morning? So this first song is a very special song to me. It's always held a very special place in my heart. Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Just this month, on the 12th of this month, Judy Garland would have been 100 years old. There was a big celebration in California, big gala to honor her, and I felt like this would be a wonderful way to just kind of honor her in my way with this song. The anniversary of her death is also this month, sadly, back in 1969. So here's for Judy Garland. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Then oh, why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh, why can't I?
Hello? Oh, good morning. So the note here says that I'm supposed to say something about Joey Sandal Hill, and I forgot to ask him what I should say. So this might take a while. No, thank you, Joey, for your sharing your gift and your song. Joey was a high school choir boy, and then joined the Seattle Men's Chorus after that, and we have, I know him. I know that guy. Maybe someday I'll get a autograph. That's what it is, yeah. Well, good morning and welcome to the light and the love that is Unity of South Sound. My name is David Sandal Hill, and I'm your board vice president. It's my joy to welcome you here on this beautiful Father's Day morning. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers and the single mothers performing double duty. Happy Juneteenth, a celebration of our, yes, a celebration of freedom for our African American brothers and sisters. And happy Pride, also a celebration of freedom and for the LGBTQ community. If you have any questions or concerns or joys to share, please contact our office during business hours at 253-301-0385 or email us at office@unityofsouthsound.org. We now invite you to relax, reconnect, and center in the truth of who we are. Will you please join me in saying our opening affirmation? There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the good omnipotence. And our mission statement, inspired by the divine as an inclusive spiritual community, we explore and express our highest potential. Our vision statement, present and centered in divine love, we co-create a peaceful and awakened world. Our core values, we are love, joy, abundance, and spirit-guided. I'd now like to invite Reverend Deborah up to light the Unity candle and open us with prayer.
I invite you, even though you have watched this candle be lit many times before, to bring yourself into that present moment as if it has never been done before. And to hold inside of you the truth that you are love, you are joy, you are spirit guided. That the words that Joey sang this morning point to the possibility of the dreams and the imaginings and the creativity that is longing in your heart to be actual in your world. And so as we light this candle, we remember there is no spot where God is not. None. And that includes you. Namaste.
Now I invite you, if you're able, to stand and join with our song leader, Annie Lane Ryan, in singing our congregational song.
Let it shine. We are alive in this world, in this world. We are alive in this world, in this world. This is the time, this is the place. Let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. I am alive, I am alive. let it shine, let it shine.
Thank you, Annie. Now it's the time in our service where we get to greet each other with a namaste greeting, handshake or hug. If you feel comfortable, you can give an elbow bump. Otherwise, we invite you to just place your hands together and say, Namaste. I behold the divinity you are. Namaste.
Slow this down a little. Everybody ready? Stand. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, so I love song. So today's reading is A Prayer for Peace by Claire Clayton, and I found this on a blog, and it just really touched me for the message that we're about to hear today. So I just wanted to share this with you. And I'm at that stage in my life where I bring the glasses up here to try to read what I'm looking at, and then when I put the glasses on, it's too far away. So I don't know, I might be like this, I'll do my best. Are you there, God? It's me. I sat with the blanket around me on the hardwood floor of my bedroom. The black bookshelf to my left, the closet curtain behind me, and the decorated dresser to my right made a cozy nook for me. Ever since I was a young child, I loved sitting on the ground. It made me feel connected to the earth, balanced, safe, secure. I shared the room with my twin brother, William, who currently resided in the living room where he was sure to be on the computer. That left me to have a moment of peace and quiet in the busy household. I was at my dad's house this weekend. I spent half my time here and the other half at my mom's with my grandparents. It was one of my grandparents that caused me to speak to God that evening. You have to understand, I'm not an overly religious person, strictly an Easter and Christmas Eve churchgoer. It was not that I didn't believe in God or any of the religious stories I'd grown up with, or rather it was not that I did not want to. As I had explained to my mother on several times, I believed in a force of love and goodness. Call it God if you wish. On that particular evening, I did choose that name. I pray rarely, so I was not completely sure of how it was done. I figured that I needed something to look at. A shell, a rock, a candle. Yes, that would do, a candle. I sat it in front of me, staring at that unlit wick. I considered lighting it, but did not wish to wander through the house to find a match. Unlit it is. Besides, isn't that what God is? An unlit candle, ready to share its joyful flame to anyone it needs, patient and humble? Hi, God. As you know, I don't do this often, as maybe as I should. My mom tells me that prayer can help calm the mind. I promised her I would try, so here I am. I'll start with what I'm thankful for, if that's all right with you. I'm thankful for my home, my family, my friends, my warm bed, my books, and all the other good things that make me smile. I know that you've already received a lot of prayers these past years about her, but I'm going to add to the pile my grandma, who I call Nana. She's sick. I've lived with her for almost my whole life, and she, along with my grandfather, are like another set of parents to me. Needless to say, we're connected. As you know, she's been fighting with pancreatic cancer for a while now. She defied all the laws of science and nature by still being around today. Maybe I have you to thank for that. We were told that she had 2 weeks to live 2 years ago. I know I should be happy about that, and I am, but it's been hard. I'll get to the point. I know you're not a genie with 3 wishes and everything, but like you know, I'm inexperienced in prayer, so I'm going with that idea. My first wish is for my mom. She's so busy trying to make everyone happy but herself. I think she sometimes forgets that she matters too. My second wish is for my grandfather. Diving into perfecting his physical health, he tries to pretend like nothing isn't happening. I see the pain he's carrying around. He loves my grandmother. They've been married for over 50 years. My last wish is for my grandmother. She thinks she is going to win a medal or something by not showing any pain. She's not. Anyway, I just want all of them to be happy. They are as much as they can, I know that. They've never stopped caring for me and my brother and being the best family the world has to offer. What I'm trying to say is that I want them around as long as possible. I'm not quite sure how to end this. I don't feel like goodbye is right. It's rather final, don't you think? Maybe I'll just go with the traditional route. Amen. I refocused my gaze from the candle to my surroundings. The lowly lit room seemed less lonely. It was an odd feeling for me, the sudden comfort that washed through me like the ocean waves on a rock. I was not sure how long it would last, and not wanting it to stop, I remained where I was. I could hear the sound of my sister laughing on the phone in the distance. I could hear my father whistling in the kitchen. I could hear the music from my brother's game. Despite all of that, all I really heard was the quiet that enveloped me like a warm blanket on a chilly night. Whether that was God granting me those long minutes or my own imagination, I did not know, nor did I care. All I knew at that moment was that I felt peace. I always liked the word peace. I was raised with it all about me. It hung on block letters on a sign next to a picture of a dove. It was entwined on paper around ivy vines, and it was written in fine cursive on the pictures that hung on the walls. It was also the word I thought of when I saw my grandmother. She was the one who surrounded herself with peace in writing and in feeling. Peace was what I felt when I hugged her. It was peace that I heard in the melody of her voice. It was peace I felt when she walked into a room. It was peace I touched when I held her hand. Peace was all that I wanted for her that evening, and all the rest.
So this song is another is a song of hope. I was looking at songs that I could sing this Sunday, with an emphasis with Juneteenth. If you are unaware, I just wanted to give you a little bit of history because today is a very important day. The Emancipation Proclamation was put into effect in 1863. As soon as the proclamation was put out, the Union soldiers rode through the South, telling people of their newly won freedom. But in places where it was still under Confederate control, those people who were enslaved were still not free. It wasn't until June 19th, 1865, 3 years later, when 2,000 Union soldiers rode into Galveston, Texas, the Army announced that the more than 250,000 enslaved people in the state of Texas were free. That day became known as Juneteenth and has been celebrated since. Fast forward to the 1960s, our country is in a time of tumult. Black people are being lynched. Jewish people are being persecuted. The person who wrote the song was a Jewish man who wrote the song with the intention of bringing people together. Sung by Louis Armstrong, who'd been entertaining people of all races since the 1950s. He was criticized at the time for singing this song of hope and peace, saying, how can this world be so, how can you sing this song that says, what a wonderful world it is? And he introduced this song at a live event saying, some of you young folks have been saying to me, hey, Pops, what do you mean, what a wonderful world? How about all them wars all over the place? You call them wonderful? Sounds like today. Armstrong said as he introduced a live performance of the song, but how about listening to old Pops for a minute? Seems to me, it ain't the world that's so bad, but what we're doing to it. And all I'm saying is, see what a wonderful world it would be if only we'd give it a chance. And so this song is for everybody who wants to give this world a chance. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright blessed day, dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Thank you, Joey. And thank you for the tribute to Juneteenth and the reminder with your song that this is a wonderful world. And like you said, much like the 60s, we're going through some stuff. We're not here to deny that. But as spiritual students, as spiritual beings having a spiritual experience in human form, notice I did not say we're spiritual beings having a human experience in human form. There's a difference. We're spiritual beings having a spiritual experience. I'd like you to just try that on. It's a little bit different. Having a spiritual experience in human form. It's our job to see the wonderful world. We need to see it before we be it. We need to be it, see it before it manifests. And so thank you, Joey. And of course, our wonderful musicians over here, Cerny, and yeah. See how much room I've got up here. So, happy Juneteenth, happy Pride Month, happy Father's Day. I've got a few Father's Day quotes. Thanks for acting like a kid when I was a kid, acting like a friend when I needed a friend, and acting like a parent when I needed one. You are the best man I know. Happy Father's Day. And of course, we could all get into, is this the best man? No, my dad, We're going to get to that too. You know what they say? Real heroes don't wear capes. They make dad puns. Thank you for being a real hero. It doesn't matter how many years go by, in my mind, you'll always be that same amazing person who taught me how to ride a bike, coached my softball team, and scared away the monsters in my room. Happy Father's Day. Thanks for teaching me all the best things I know, Dad, plus some other good stuff that I probably should have paid more attention to. And lastly, today is all about you, Dad. Enjoy, because tomorrow it's back to the rest of us. And so I hope some of those quotes resonate with you. Whether you're a dad, whether you're thinking about your dad, I hope some of those resonate with you. And what we know is we didn't all have the same experience with our fathers. There were fathers who were absent, fathers who had issues that ended up becoming our issues that we got to deal with. And so this is an invitation to look at our fathers. And if you are a father, if you're proud of how you fathered your children or not, it's important to realize our fathers are great teachers. I want to share a story with you. You probably know about this story. Wayne Dyer. We've all heard of Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer grew up basically in an orphanage and passed from foster home to foster home, and it was because his dad didn't show up for him. Disappeared. I think Wayne was maybe 2 years old or something like that. And Wayne had a chip on his shoulder for a long time about his dad. Deep, deep pain, actually. And one day, as a young man, he decided that he was going to find his father, only his father had passed on. So he went to his father's grave, and while he was there, he had a deep healing experience. He said all the things to his father that he needed to say. He got himself down on his knees. He wept. He forgave his father. He found a place inside of himself to let his father be a great teacher. And it was after that experience that Wayne began to change his life. He stopped drinking. He paid more attention to how other people's feelings were in his interactions with them. And he became a different person in terms of his profession, became the writer. And the man that we got to watch grow through his writings and transform through his writings over the year and impact literally millions of people. And it was his father, who certainly wasn't perfect, that gave him that gift. So wherever you are with your relationship with your father, know that that relationship is fundamental, foundational, and that our fathers are great teachers, no matter how that showed up. So today, as Joey said, we live in a world, in a society, where there's a lot going on. And it's easy to forget that what's happening around us is here to teach us. We have certain expectations of how the world should be. We have certain expectations of how fathers should be, of what men are supposed to be like, women are supposed to be like. It's still part of our society. And so often, men have a burden of sorts because of the expectations that there are to provide, to protect. And whether you feel this as a burden or you feel this as deep in your bones, in your cells, this is what I'm here for, that expectation can shift how men experience the world. Now, in Unity, we recognize that there are masculine energies and feminine energies, and they don't necessarily land in female bodies only and male bodies only. So if you're a woman and you feel that burden to need to protect and to provide, that's in alignment, right? And if you're a man and you feel that place inside of you that is nurturing, that listens, that is receptive, that's the balance of the masculine and the feminine. So I want to make sure that that's open and available to us. And at the same time, I want to talk a little bit about that expectation of protecting and providing. It's often where life becomes a roller coaster. These expectations to make things happen in the world. It's a place where ego can run rampant. Why? Because there's this building energy. Build something, create something, make it happen. And so this is the masculine energy that is pushing itself out into the world, protecting, providing. Again, nothing wrong with any of this. We're talking about a balance. And so this building energy looks to the outer. It's based on circumstances a lot. It's based on situations a lot. And these are the places where our ego can get all wrapped up in our own creations, because we're almost taking on like the role of the divine in our lives, separate from the divine. That's a lot of work. Anytime we separate ourselves from the divine, that's a lot of work. And so back to what's happening in our world right now, I think there's a lot of separation from the divine. We feel like it's something that we have to make happen, or maybe not us so much, but we're watching these things go on in the world and we're saying, how can that be? And we find places inside of ourselves that get enraged about that. And we're not the kind of people that we think of as being enraged. And yet we look at some of the things that have been gained that appear to be being lost. We have gay rights, and yet there's a battle on gay rights. We freed the slaves, and yet here we are, where people with bodies that are black and brown do not feel free. They do not feel that they have the same opportunities oftentimes. And I'm not saying everybody in a black and brown body feels that way. I'm not saying that at all. And yet we have experiences today, in 2022, where black people are not free to have the same opportunities, black and brown people, as those of us in white bodies. And so we look to the external and the things that have been building and growing, and how some of those are now deteriorating and stepping back. Many, many changes. Building can be exhaustive, right? Building something new, the creative process, can be exhaustive. It's an external process. We try to have control over the outside result. We assume that posture of the creator. Our ego is very much involved. If any of you are familiar with Sig Paulson, one of our earlier Unity teachers, he talked about acronyms all the time. So ego becomes edging God out, right? Edging God out. I can do this. Let me make it happen. Let me provide. Let me protect. You know, that energy, again, whether it's in a male body or a female body, it's that energy that pushes things away, that wears us out, that brings us to a spot of being tired, of losing our peace, the peace of mind. When we put God first, source, spirit, universal mind, whatever you want to call it, when we put God first, everything changes. We don't have to do all the work. In fact, our work becomes allowing ourselves to be permeable and allowing spirit to express through us. If we're in a spot where we're trying to figure everything out, we're going to get exhausted. But if we can allow spirit, which is who we are, there's no spot where God is not. The joy, the wisdom, the love, the abundance, the wellness of God, the creativity of God, there's no spot where that's not. That means it's already in you. So this doesn't mean not to use your brain in order to do a little figuring out. It's asking us to let spirit work through us to point us in the right direction. So it's easier. Those aha moments, those are real. Our intuition, to nurture that, to develop that, to invite that, makes all the difference. Putting God first is what allows us to relax. It allows us to rest. The burden is off of you. It's off of the masculine energy in you, and there becomes this divine union of the masculine that is pushing out and the feminine that is allowing to be received. We receive Spirit's guidance and we bring it into the world. Letting go, letting God be God in you. And so today's talk is, come and I will give you rest. Come unto me, all ye who are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. That's in Matthew chapter 11. Verse 28 If you take the notion when you get home to open the Bible and take a look, you will see that chapter 11 is all about things that are difficult and hard and that are not seen for what they truly are, how difficult the trials and tribulations, and then come unto me, all who are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. So it's during a time of difficulty that this invitation is brought forth. And I'd like to ask you to do something. I'd like to ask you to consider, when you think of rest, what do you think of? Is rest a time of getting away from your burdens? Is it a getting away and going someplace else? Oh, I need a vacation, right? I need to get out of here. I need to go somewhere, anywhere but here. Is it the rest that the body desires when we've used our body, when we've exercised or done physical labor for a time? Is it that rest? Is it the rest that we long for, that deep soul calling when we've gone through a storm in our lives and we live to tell the story, right? When you think of rest, what do you think of? When we rest in God, it's all of that in general, but it's none of it in particular. When we rest in God, it's so much more than letting go of reactions and responses and resentments. Rest is not getting away from things, but it is coming to source. It is not getting away. It is allowing ourselves to have that deep experience of the divine. Not out here. And I don't know about you, I haven't had a guy in the sky with a beard and a book for a long time. But I have continued in some ways to ask for spirit, to have the right people show up, right? Like there's some kind of chessboard here, you know? And it's like my life would be easier if that person wasn't in my life and this person was, you know? Or if I just wait a little while longer while I get my act together, then things are going to be easier. Anybody relate to that? We've got all these stories, right? Which is really different. Then there's no spot where God is not. Fully present all the time right now. I don't need these outer circumstances to change. I don't need that person to not be in my life or to get their act together so that my life is easier and better. It's not my business what somebody else is doing. Those are the traps that we get into. Come away and rest. Rest in the space of spirit that you are. Some of you are familiar with different phases of our growth in spirit. And while it sounds linear, it is not. We cycle around, we grow, we move. Different parts of our lives are different ways. There's this idea of God, of the world happening to me, where I want to make a change with that. By me, where I have to do it all. The protector, the provider. Through me. Spirit through me. The flute, the wind through the flute. Spirit through me. Life gets so much easier. And then there is spirit as me. That's what I'm calling forth. It is a process. Our experience of it is a process. The presence of the divine, always present. It's us being able to open to God as me. This is where the rest comes. This is where Spirit is guiding us. We come into that place where we don't have to wait for things to happen. So rest is not getting away from things. It is allowing ourselves to experience Spirit always present. Always present. So God's rest is whole and complete all by itself. It's not in some distant time and space. It's not about getting away from anything. It's about coming into God. And then we are restored. Is there anything that is impossible for the divine? No. One of the things I think that happens, at least I'll speak for myself, much of my prayer time, and I've been praying for a long, long time. I've been practicing these principles for a long, long time. And a lot of that prayer was sort of from the neck up. It's an experience of transcendence, if you will. If I can transcend myself, if I can go to the rainbow, if I can experience the wonderful, wonderful world in spite of all that's happening. And so it's like this transcendence that I didn't really experience in my body. Embodying Spirit. Allowing ourselves to realize no matter what's happening in this world, God, right there, in the middle of it. No matter what I'm experiencing in my body, God, right there, in the middle of it. And so we often have like this sense of two realities. Like this reality that we can experience when we transcend, when we experience ourselves as source. And we do. We've been doing this work. We experience ourselves as Spirit. We feel that oneness. We feel that joy. Those days when nothing can knock us off center. Maybe it's not a day, maybe it's a few moments. That's the feeling. And then there is that part of us, that other reality, that feels in the moment and the opinions we have about the moment, right? The feelings that we have and what we want to change about that moment. The way we complain or blame. Do you believe where we are today? Those parts, thankfully, Spirit doesn't see that. God doesn't see that. Think about it. We have the story of the prodigal son, right? The son that takes his part of the wealth and goes off and squanders it on women and booze and whatever else he squandered it on until he had nothing left. And this Jewish boy is like, oh my God, my world is just, it's horrible. Look what I've done. Look what I've done. I will go back to my father. I will allow myself to do anything to feed the pigs, just not to have to deal with the life that I've created for myself. And so he shows up, willing to do anything, with his head bowed in shame. You just see him, finally back to his father, but his head bowed. Father, I have, and he won't even let him say what he needs to say. His father simply throws his arms around his son and says, "You're home. It is so good to see you. Come. We will throw a party. My son that was lost is now found." That is Spirit in you, in me. We're not lost. We're never lost. The things that we see as broken, God doesn't see us broken. Thankfully, God isn't going to join us in our complaining. Oh, yes, I've got such a good friend, they'll see it just the way I do. Oh, gosh, my poor dear, I know how awful that is. If that person would... We get into gossip. God won't gossip with you. That's good news. You can count on God for that, Spirit in you. God won't gossip with you. And so our job is to be able to bring those two realities together, the part of us that experiences ourselves as source and the part of us that feels ourselves as separate. Feels ourselves as separate. You know what I shared about prayer and feeling transcendent? You see, there's a way that we can feel our feelings and remember who we are, that we're not our feelings, that we can be informed by our feelings, and remember that we're more than that. Do you know, this is a great experiment to try, do you know that whatever feeling is moving through you, if you allow yourself to be fully present with that feeling, curious, where did it come from? What is it teaching me? Fully present with that feeling. What is going on in this world of form, right? Spiritual beings in a world of form. If we feel that feeling for 90 seconds, it will pass. Try it. 90 seconds. Minute and a half, it will pass. Anything after that is what we think about the feeling we just had, right? Now we have to process it. Oh my goodness, where did this come from? That's because this happened in my life. We get in there and we dig and we get all wallowed down inside those feelings instead of just allowing that feeling to move through us and invite spirit, invite source, come into that place. What does this mean? How then shall I respond? How then shall I respond? So we rest in spirit. We rest in spirit. And that is where the rest is. We don't have to do it. We don't have to figure it out. We don't have to get rid of the feeling. We simply need to allow it to move through. To be honest with it. There's no spot where God is not. So even if you're feeling angry, even if you're feeling overwhelmed, it's not that God's not there. How do we meet the feeling, release the feeling, and rest in spirit? Because God's got it, right? God knows what to do. So, one of the things in today's world that continues to happen is changes that we don't expect. Is anybody watching the hearings right now? Is there anybody there that you're just like, I don't know how they can be this way? Anybody? So, in this day of politics, and this is not about politics, this is about us, this is about spirit. In this day of politics, there are a few people that I think, how in the world can they do that? So one of the things that I'm watching is people who I know have a deeper sense of what serves people and what does not serve people. And they're doing what does not serve people. And I think, grow a spine, right? You know better than that. Stand up for it. That's what you're there for. How easy is it to point that finger of blame? Here's the practice. This is not a practice that most of us welcome. But I guarantee you, when you do this practice, it will shift something inside. It's not about me saying it or thinking that might be a good idea. It's actually doing it. And that is looking at that person. So I'm just going to pick, doesn't matter what the name is, somebody, one of our senators, who I think grow a spine, right? Here's the practice. How am I like that person? What part of me needs to grow a spine, right? And I thought about this. In honor of Juneteenth, I was in a room with other business people. It's a networking meeting. And there was a change here in the state of Washington for the way that auto insurance is billed. And it had to do with putting more focus on a person's driving record and less focus on past billings and personal income and those sorts of things. As a result, many of the business people in the room were going to experience an increase in their auto insurance. Why? Because other people were going to experience a decrease. And it was actually addressing some of the systemic racism that had been built into the system that has people of lower income pay a higher percentage of their auto insurance. And I knew that's what was going on. And here is this business person saying to other business people, you should be enraged. This is costing you money. And I didn't say anything. I didn't speak up. And I knew what was happening. And I didn't speak up. And how can I sit and look at one of our senators or Congress people, whoever that is, and say, grow a spine, when I'm being schooled on how to grow a spine, right? That's the place where we can see each other as one. That's the place where we can grow. And then we have to ask for that same person, how are they like me? Because what this does is it allows us to see in oneness, and instead of having these two split realities, we are coming closer and closer and closer to being one. We cannot push off of something and expect it to heal. What you resist persists. This is a time of calling those of us who are passionate about spirit to go deeper than we've ever gone before. And not as an act of denial, not as an act of pretending, but as the experience of fully embodying what's going on and bringing a higher perspective. And friends, it's too much for us to do on our own. With our thinking, our strategizing, our best past performance, it's not that. It's allowing spirit to work through us and to discover new ways of being. So rest is ultimately about finding peace. Peace within ourselves. Being enraged is not going to make the changes we need in this world. It's about peace. One of the reasons people are so tired and there's so much overwhelm is that when we put our head on the pillow at night to sleep, we're not at peace. And so that good, solid rest that our body needs doesn't happen in the same way that it does when we can put our head on the pillow and feel at peace. So a great practice, before you go to sleep, really bring that sense of spirit, really bring that place of oneness and make it real for yourselves. I love how you started, one of you, started with gratitude and thanksgiving. We could go to sleep with gratitude. It lifts us up. It puts us in a state of peace. And then our rest is really rest. We're resting in spirit instead of having our minds churn through over and over again. How many times have I been asked, maybe you have, what keeps you awake at night? What wakes you up at 3 o'clock in the morning? We are asking the wrong questions. How can we have that deep, restful sleep? We rest in spirit. It's not the building energy, it's the birthing energy. It's allowing things to gestate in their own time. It's trusting spirit. Resting in spirit. So how do I tune into spirit, into the true essence that I am? I'm going to give you something really, really practical to close up on. When we find ourselves in a place where we're irritated, feeling separate, when we're complaining, when we're blaming, we're doing those things that cause us angst, it's time to stop. Take a holy breath. Just tell our mind, stop. Take a breath. The word inspire, it's bringing breath through us. It's bringing spirit through us. Take a breath. It's a way of embodying spirit. So number one, stop. Take a holy breath. Let yourself be lifted up. And that's the place from which you can do an affirmation. Find something that's true for you, that lifts you up. Find something. Something good is trying to happen here. My needs are always met. I am safe and secure in spirit. Whatever you can say that rings true for you, the idea is to stop this action and to lift back into spirit, move into spirit where we can rest. From that place, now there is possibility. What can you speak into being that you truly, truly desire? You know, everything is happening for good. This is a way of bringing people together. Let us open our hearts and minds so that we can see each other, really see who each other are. And then move into that space of knowing grace. And I could do a whole talk on grace, right? But knowing grace, you don't earn grace. There is nothing you can do to have more grace. Did you know that? There's nothing you can do to have less grace. You just get it. That's why it's called grace. You just get it. And so it's like grace has been given to you. It's God's grace. Receive it. And from that place, you know that you're filled and you have something to give. Something to give to the world. When you're giving, you know you've received it. You know you have. You know abundance. And think about it. So we're looking at when there's that downhill shift, stop. Take a holy breath. Affirm something that's true for you. Have your special words. You know, I've got a dear, dear friend, and she called and left a message on my phone, and she said, God's delays are not God's denials. God's setbacks are opportunities. You know the drill. It's like have that handy for yourself, whatever it is. There's no spot where God is not. Have that handy so you can affirm that. Then go to possibility. Embrace grace. Now you've got something to give. And that will stop the pattern of going down and bring you back up. Rest in spirit. Rest in spirit. I have one last thing to share with you. It's a quote from Anne Lamott. almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you. Namaste. And so let us take a moment to pray. And taking that holy breath, breathing in, let it go deep inside of you. And so we breathe in the breath of God. And we allow that breath to move through us, down through our feet into the earth to ground us, grounded in spirit. And breathing up, allowing that breath to fill your belly. And then breathing up through the top of your head, connecting with that transcendent experience. And breathing in again. And out, and rooting yourself into the earth. And so we are this conduit, this place between heaven and earth. And we are here as spiritual beings, having a spiritual experience. And living, loving God. In this moment, we open our hearts, we surrender to you. We allow ourselves to be humble, to realize that we don't know everything. And that actually life is easier when we remember we don't know everything. And so we invite the presence of Spirit to guide us, to remind us, to breathe us. And as we do, we find a place of rest. We let go of the concerns of the outer world, of circumstances, of situations. We let it go. We rest in spirit. And it is here where we are rejuvenated, where our imagination is inspired, where we experience ourselves as spiritual beings at a very, very important time on our planet. To live, to truly live the expression of the divine through us. And so it is skillful to find a place in your life where you want to apply this. To allow that place where perhaps you see an injustice, perhaps you're disturbed, to simply turn it over to Spirit. Rest. Come apart and rest for a while. And living, loving God, we give thanks for this time of rejuvenation, for this time of seeing more clearly, for this time of experiencing this wonderful, wonderful world. Thank you, God. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Deborah. Wow. I just love these unity teachings, these talks that touch your soul and bring you back to the center of who you are, who we are together, the oneness that we all share. So thank you for that message, and rest in spirit. Now we'd like to welcome our newcomers and live streamers. We want to thank you for all of those who may be joining us for the first time here or online. Is there anybody here today that's a first timer or online? Hi, how are you? Thank you for sharing your consciousness and your love with us. If this is your second time that you've joined us, welcome back. And if you've been here for a long time now, welcome home. And I like to say welcome home even if it's your first time. Welcome home, because we are all one. And to all our friends, we want to share our unity blessing with you. So to all of our newcomers and live streamers, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divinity you are. Now is the time in our service when we'd like to prepare for our love offering and invite Joey Sandal Hill to prepare for his next song. This is a time in our service where we get the chance to share of our financial blessings with this community. There are 4 easy ways to do so. You can visit our website, unityofsouthsound.org. In the upper right corner of our homepage is an orange donate button. You can make a one-time or ongoing donation. It's simple and secure to do. You can also call the office at 253-301-0385. You can snail mail it to us, Unity of South Sound, at 710 South Anderson Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405. Or if you're here in person, we have an offering plate on the back table of the sanctuary. Whichever way we make our tithes, we hold those love offerings at this moment in our hands and in our hearts and affirm together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am in perfect balance and flow with the universal tides of giving and receiving. Thank you, God.
Are there so many songs about rainbows, and what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions, and rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it, but I know they're wrong. Wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Who said that every wish would be heard and answered when wished on the morning star? Somebody thought of that, and someone believed it. Look what it's done so far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing, and what do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. All of us under its spell. We know that it's probably magic. Have you been half asleep, and have you heard voices? I've heard them calling my name. Is this the sweet sound that calls the young sailors? The voice might be one and the same. I've heard it too
that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. It's some reason that song always reminds me of Kermit the Frog. So at this time, we have a number of announcements to share with you all. First of all, on the third Sunday of each month, we do our blessing of our tithes. We have a very special blessing to share with you this morning. We'd like to bless all of the recipients of our April tithes. Unity of South Sound has a commitment to tithe 10% of all of our love offerings back into the community, to trusted organizations that help us to build a world that works for everyone. We hold these tithes and love offerings in our hearts and affirm this together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am in perfect balance and flow with the universal tides of giving and receiving. Thank you, God. And it's something that we also have started doing here at Unity is to share back with some of you the letters of appreciation from these tithes into our community so that you know where your dollars that you're sharing with us are going back into the community to help. And this is from Jen Sankwich, Chief Operations Officer at Helping Hand House. Unity Church of South Sound, on behalf of Helping Hand, thank you for your generous donation. Without your continued support by community members like you, we wouldn't be able to keep meeting the immediate needs for our families facing homelessness. You are making an incredible impact on their lives. Thank you for continuing to share our heart and being so gracious, active in our mission. Warmly, Helping Hand House team. So thank you. The e-blast. We have several announcements to share with you this morning, and we'd like you to know that you can keep up to date on our Sunday services and events by subscribing to our weekly newsletter, the e-blast. Go to our homepage and click on the newsletter sign-up button at the top, then fill out the contact information and submit. Your info will be safe on this secure site and will never be shared. A Course of Love. A Course of Love book study group meets over Zoom every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Click the link on the e-blast to connect with the group. Please note that this group will not be meeting this evening in celebration of Father's Day. Bead parties. Join us for some fun and connection as we tie tags and ribbons to 1,400 strands of rainbow beads that we will lovingly hand out to the Tacoma Pride Festival attendees in July. Heidi Maloney and Joey Sandalhill are hosting the parties, and we have 2 dates available. The dates are this Tuesday, June 21st from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., and Friday, June 24th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Refreshments will be provided, and both parties will be held here at the Spire. Welcoming a celebration for Reverend Megan Smith Brooks, who's here with us today. Hi. We invite you to join us and welcome our new minister, Reverend Megan Smith Brooks, on Sunday, June 26th. We will hold her celebration in our banquet hall after the service as well. Come and meet Reverend Megan and join us for some food, fun, and connection. Michelle, you had an announcement. Can I ask you to just come up and make that real quick? Thank you. Sorry, I put her on the spot. She didn't know I was going to do that.
And we put Amy on the spot too, because activate the mic. So we just want to make sure everybody got our call to volunteers to help our new minister, Reverend Megan, with their move. And it's also to help our community, because what we're doing in this is we're going to try and save some labor costs by helping Reverend Megan and her husband, Michael, to empty their pod when it arrives, as well as their U-box when it arrives. The big one is the pod, and the little bit smaller one is the U-pod, or the U-box. Anyway, the pod is coming this next week, and it should be available between June 23rd and 25th. So if you're available to help June 23rd, June 24th, or June 25th, I believe that's Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, please step up, let me know, let Heidi know at the office, let one of us know, and we'll be coordinating all of you volunteers to help with this effort to help them unload the pod, get it back before they charge us more money, and also to save us from having to hire somebody maybe, right? This helps our community and its prosperity, and it's a great way to get to know Reverend Megan and her husband, Michael. The second one, the U-box, sorry, my phone went to sleep, is coming, I believe, the following week on the 27th or 28th. So we need some volunteers on the 27th and 28th. So we need some strong bodies. Even if you know people who are willing to volunteer and help, you know, awesome, whoever we can collect. We're a big family. We'll make a big party out of it, and we'll have a lot of fun and get to know Reverend Megan and her hubby, Michael, a little bit better and take a little load off. So I'm putting that invitation out there.
Thank you, Michelle. I just love it here. I love it so much because I can just call on somebody to make an announcement. I had no idea that that was what the announcement was about, but it just landed in perfect timing, divine order, because we just talked about Reverend Megan, and then that announcement was about Reverend Megan, and I didn't even know that. So it just worked out. Perfect timing. Pride sign-up booths. Pride booth sign-ups. We're currently seeking volunteers to help us run our Unity of South Sound booth at the Tacoma Pride Festival on Saturday, July 9th. We have loads of fun and hand out hundreds of beads. If you're interested in spreading the word about Unity of South Sound to our community and you would like to volunteer for a shift, please check this sign-up table in the back of the sanctuary. And if you're watching online, you can sign up by contacting the office at office@unityofsouthsound.org. Project Paintbrush. Project Paintbrush is back from a 2-year hiatus due to the pandemic. We're now taking sign-ups for this season's project. This is our 9th summer partnering with Associated Ministries and Paint Tacoma Beautiful to weatherize, paint, and transform the home of low-income, disabled, or elderly homeowners in the Tacoma area. We will begin this project with Prep Day on Saturday, July 16th at 10 a.m. And then we'll work every Saturday until it's finished. Paint Day will be held on August 6th at 10 a.m. and we will need all the volunteers we can get that day. There are many ways to participate, even if you aren't available to help us paint. You can also sign up for this event at the back table of the sanctuary or by contacting the office. And now, we would like to bless our youth.
Okay, so we were a very small but mighty group today, and we did some Father's Day projects and talked about Father's Day and masculine energy. So if you're a father or if you embody the masculine energy, if you're both mom and dad, that's me. I've made some rocks up here. We've made rocks, and they have affirmation words on them, and you're welcome to come and pick one up and take it with you. Affirmative rocks for your Father's Day. I wanted to also say that our YOU went away to a lock-in in Linwood, so that's why they aren't with us today. And our Uniteens are headed to Unitreat, so that's why they aren't with us today. But they are off in person, having a really good time. Yeah, really excited for them. Also, our fundraiser donation drive, today is the very last day that I will be taking donations from church. Yes, it's the very last day. And so don't bring them next week because the U-Haul will have already delivered it and I'm not storing stuff for a whole year. So this is it. If you have stuff in your car, that's great. My van is out front in the parking lot and we can load it into the van. I didn't plan this really well because this is the last day, but I have no kids here, no big kids, but that's okay. We'll get it done. We'll get it loaded into the van. So if you brought things, my van's parked out there. And I think that's what I have to say.
Thank you. And now let's bless these God lights. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divinity you are. Amen. Parents, if you have children up here, come on up and take their hands. Everyone else, we invite you to stand if you're able and hold your hands high as we sing our peace song, sending peace out to the entire world. And the prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. Same place, same time. And Reverend Megan will be speaking next week, so we're looking forward to that. Thank you.
Pretty. I feel pretty, oh so pretty. I feel pretty and witty and bright, and I pity any girl who isn't me tonight. I feel charming, oh so charming. It's alarming how charming I feel, and I'm so pretty that I hardly can believe I'm real. See the pretty girl in the mirror there. Who can that attractive girl be? Such a pretty face, such a pretty dress, such a pretty smile, such a pretty me. I feel stunning and entrancing, feel like running and dancing for joy, for I'm loved by a pretty